Hey folks, John Cantera, the Double Broker Bounty Hunter here on behalf of the Freight Fraud Task Force, and welcome to another episode of the Tic Toc Diner. It is going to be an interesting one today. Modus, as we all know, has had all kinds of problems, but hey, we got a new one for you, and it's going to be a biggin. We're also going to be talking to trucker and author J.R. Elrod about his new book, and then we'll get into the issues of Modus. So be sure to stay tuned. Before you do that, though, please be sure to check out the Double Broker Bounty Hunter store, which is now live. Go to our website, vigilanttransport.com, and you'll be able to get access to our store. Right now, there's only mugs and thermal cups out there, but please be sure to check that out. And we'll have hats, T-shirts, and all that kind of stuff coming soon. But in the meantime, sit tight, relax, and it's time for us to get a little bit of lunch.
For the Freight Fraud Task Force, welcome to the Tic Toc Diner Podcast, where we serve up freight fraud with a side of prevention. Grab a menu and have a seat. Your server will be right with you. Here is your head chef and host, the Double Broker Bounty Hunter, John Cantera.
A little bit of jazz in the morning. We're jumping right in here. Frozen Freight Iron Reach. How you doing, JR?
I'm doing good.
I love it. You jump right in to promote the book. I absolutely love it.
I should have done it this way because the plastic thing was reflecting. Let's try it this way. There we go. There's where you get my book, folks. There's you some information.
QR codes. If you can get a little closer, you might be able to actually scan those QR codes on your phone. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay.
There we go.
If you guys have any hard time getting that, we're going to make sure that the link to JR's book on Amazon is going to be in the comment section. So we'll get that squared away for you. So please be sure to check that out. Frozen Freight Iron Reach. It is book 1 of the Iron Reach series. And I think you finished the initial manuscript for book 2, haven't you?
Yes. Book two is at the editor right now. It is done. We're hoping it will be out in August. I can't give an exact date yet because we are going through the editing part. But it will be out in August, and it's Frozen Freight, the 5th dot. I had to look. It's a continuation of the Iron Reach book, and there's a lot of good information in there. It kind of goes through the second book. Kind of goes through the rebuild of, well, never mind. I can't. I have to be careful because
don't give away your story. We don't want you to give away the story. We want the mystery. But what led you to even start writing the Iron Reach series?
Well, okay. So basically, there are all kinds of books out there on how to and how to do a trucking company, how to do this, how to treat your drivers, it's all, but nobody wants to read those. Literally. I mean, the general public, they don't want to know how to do that. So basically I took my guys here at Bar Transportation and I put it all into a story, a fiction story. And it's something that the general public will hopefully want to read to kind of give them the insights on how trucking works and what we do, what we deal with. So I think, but I'm kind of partial. I think it's a very good book, and everybody that has read it has told me the same thing.
I'm only halfway through it. I got to find some more time tonight because I'm dying to finish it. I'm actually going to the beach this weekend, so I'm really hoping while I'm sitting on the beach, I'm going to be finishing.
Well, a good beach. It's a real good beach story. At least you'll stay warm during the snowstorm.
There you go. No, I'm very much looking forward to finishing that, and then I'm looking forward to your next volume when that comes out. But one of the other things that you've been doing a lot lately, and you see this all the time on LinkedIn, is your Soapbox your Camp Soapbox series that you've been doing, the series of posts and articles that you've been running. What brought that on?
Well, I'm a loudmouth. You guys know that because you talk to me almost daily. You know I'm a loudmouth. And I get up on my soapbox and I start talking. I mean, I comment on stuff on LinkedIn and where most people put 5 or maybe a sentence or two. Not me. I put like 5 or 6 paragraphs in a comment. So I thought, hey, you know what? I get up on my soapbox so much. Let me just write a little a thing for my articles. So I jump up on my soapbox and talk about driver retention, driver respect, what the owner operator should be doing to hopefully profit, telling them what I've done in the past, what other experienced small companies out there do. And it's just informative. It's all to inform and hopefully make people, give them a little chuckle here and there throughout the articles.
Oh yeah, no, I've been absolutely loving it. You have been putting out a lot of great insights. Out of curiosity, how many trucks do you currently run?
We run 4, but we got 3 on the road because the 4th one's sitting in the yard with a blowed up motor in it.
Hey, that stuff happens. But being a small carrier, you have gone through some serious hell recently that, frankly, large carriers are never have to worry about, because a lot of these large carriers, your JB Hunts, your Landstars, many of them are self-insured to a point. So, but a small guys, no chance. And you've had some holy hell, which is why we have Sage here. Sage is your insurance agent. So it's kind of nice having you guys here.
No idea who this person is. Okay. I don't even know how I ended up on this stream. I clicked the link. Here I am. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it has been chaos. It's been chaos. And thank you. I'm waiting for the Death Star book of the FMCSA. So I'm waiting for your next version. Age of the FMCSA's Modus Death Star would be the next version of the book.
Oh, that's a good. Let me write that down. That actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah, you might as well. I actually met JR. And funny enough, I met JR basically, I think, doing your stream. We were talking about the broker insurance and getting brokerage insurance, and we're not even there yet. And it basically, he reached out for that, and we started talking about trucking insurance and stuff like that. And I can confirm that he is a loudmouth, and I can confirm 90% of the time he's wrong to me. For me, I'm always right, and he's wrong.
No. Go back and read my post for this. No, everybody knows I'm right and you're wrong.
Well, at least we agree to disagree that you agree that I'm right. Okay, so at this point, but no, I actually ordered his book, and the funny part is I'm like, hey, I'll pay for it, and I went online, paid for it, and sent it to him. He's like, I got your book right here. I'm signing it. I'm like, I'm almost nervous about what he signed in the book, and before he sent it to me, to be completely honest. But no,
what I hope is that I did not send you Jenny's and Jenny yours.
You and me both hope this. No.
Oh boy. I don't think I want to know.
Yeah, my wife's gonna read that and say, "What is this?" Oh God damn it! He sent me the wrong book. Sure, he did. No, but yeah. And so then I started reading some of his articles, and I reached out and I talked to Brett and kind of learned about what he did and his trucking and stuff like that. I'm like, well, at least this guy, the FMCSA doesn't have together, but he's got it kind of together, and he wants to do good and things like that. So we kind of hit it off because we're both kind of loudmouths. One of us is right, one of us is wrong. You guys can figure that out. It's me. But yeah, we ran into this insurance problem. Well,
you notice, wait, Sage. You notice John every time we say that, he takes a drink.
Yeah, so I know. This should almost be a drinking game. Drink. No. So basically, it should be everybody be. Hello, how are we doing now? No. But no, it's a lot of the FMCSA Modus thing has become a lot of issues. And I know in the end it should be good, but they just didn't seem to beta test it long enough. And because there's so much stuff going on in logistics, everything from insurance, interstate, intrastate categories and different stuff, we're now kind of beta testing it ourselves, unfortunately. And JR was the prototype beta tester of the situation we ran into. So the situation we kind of ran into, which is going to be a lot of people is running into, because I'm now going through my database of carriers, is that when the FMCSA, like I said, and you were part of the video I did put out, like you said, the legacy basically said, hey, a class 9 hazmat, non-placarded load would be anything that has liquids in it, like a radiator fluid, oil, hydraulics, gas, diesel, any of that stuff, right? And a lot of carriers, the problem is it's also categorized with machinery and large objects. Not all large objects have that, and not all machinery have that either. You could have something that runs on air. That's, type stuff. So the problem is that when the FMCSA kicked over to Modus, and I'm going through a lot of people, they all say the same thing on CAB. And CAB is Central Agency Bureau, and it's what insurance underwriters use to determine risk. It's the common platform they use. Well, what it says that your hazmat does not match your 750 filing. That's what it said on there. And I'm like, okay, when we first started looking into this, I'm like, you don't do hazmat, do you? No, they were open deck. Well, what we eventually found out with calls, people like Dale and stuff like that helping us out, Dale Prax, was the minute you put in there, is always believable. Yeah, correct. So, but the minute you put, this one actually is correct. The minute you list yourself as machinery, you fall into the category of hazmat bulk 9. 9 bulk category 9 hazmat, non-placarded. So Modus is right to do that. Okay, so Modus isn't wrong. The issue is that now it's automatically set that way, and your insurance filing of 750 as the minimum, even though I know you have $1 million, when insurance companies file you, unless you've done cars, they list you at the minimum of 750 because that's all you need. That's your minimum. Well, the minute you go into that class 9 you now need 1 million on file. So the insurance company has to go back, which we did with his, and do a $1 million minimum filing. Because if not, they're going to kick back and say, sorry, we're going to cancel you until you get the proper minimum. The FMCSA is going to cancel you until you get the proper minimum. Now, the problem we talked about on the earlier show was, let's say you're a carrier and you don't notice this, and you get put into the status of being canceled. Okay, correct. Thank you for that. If you do that, let's say like I work for a brokerage SPI. Okay, I used to have my own brokerage. I switched to SPI. Well, SPI's people that rate carriers, they might kick you out because you've been canceled. Now they might say, well, since you were just recently canceled, you might have to go back to having 60 days. Or they might make it where, since they're nervous that you're going to be canceling again, they have no idea why you canceled. So that could knock you out of being able to, for me to be able to use you as one of my carriers. So I've been telling people that if you're a broker and you have carriers you use, reach out immediately and check their filings, especially if you do what I do, which is over-dimensional freight. So a lot of my carriers do the over-dimensional freight. So that's the issue we ran into with JR, now that I've tied up half the show. And the next book is going to be about this. This whole thing is a whole book. And there were some other issues that we had, and I'm not looking to, bash the other agent or anything. That's not my job. But there's a lot of other insurance agents that don't understand trucking and insurance. They might be very good at the insurance aspect, but the trucking aspect, they don't. So unless you can kind of know this, your agent could be doing something wrong, and that can run into a lot of problems, which is, here's the other thing I'm thinking of is this was supposed to stop the bad guys, but now we're literally punishing the good guys. Like we really are. And this needs to be fixed quickly. Can I leave anything out?
Well, it's the hallmark of progress. Anytime we see anything that's being modernized, the day one launch, all of a sudden we go back into the Stone Age as we try to move back forward again. It seems to be a repetitive pattern that we see, not just in the federal government. And I don't want to beat FMCSA too much, because it's the right thing to modernize the systems. What their goal are the right goals. But clearly, as you pointed out before, the beta testing was insufficient, and we have all kinds of problems. And this is just the latest one. I want to throw caution out there to the auto guys that are also out there, because I know for a fact that a lot of auto guys, when they filed their MCS 150, they identified themselves as being non-hazardous, yet they still check the auto box. Well, autos are class 9 hazmat.
Correct.
Sorry, they are. That is by regulation. I mean, they have their own UN number, for Christ's sake. So it's a hazmat. You don't have to be placarded. You don't have to have the endorsement, but it is a hazmat. So you have to have the right hazmat insurance. Well, I mean, I know a lot of them are running Geico. I know a lot of them are running Progressive, and these are companies that don't write hazmat policies. So the question then becomes, when underwriters at Geico and Progressive go in and they see that these guys in cab, and they see that these guys are now showing as hazmat carriers, what happens?
Well, the first thing, so Geico will, you have to understand, okay, so there's hazmat and there's placarded hazmat, right? So Geico, now I have not confirmed this. I was going to confirm this because I spoke to somebody this morning. I didn't get a chance to call. Geico would do cars, right? You could check the car box. So technically they would write that filing for you. The issue is that once you did machinery and it's automatically going to pop you into that $1 million filing, that's going to raise your insurance, because autos raise your insurance, right? Those classifications now raise your insurance pricing because they consider you, possibility of paying out more money if there is some type of rollover situation. So the problem is, I know they should have. So one of the things that we did talk about, and me and JR kind of came up with, is I ship a lot of fiberglass tanks. My wife handles it. So, but we do a lot of fiberglass tanks. These are large objects. And I normally check my carriers to say, hey, do you have large objects checked? Because obviously we're overdimensional. That would be a large object, right? Okay, Geico will no longer write. That is a new change. Yes, okay, that's this person that somebody told me that this morning, and I wanted to confirm that. So thank you for confirming that. Which is an issue. So large objects should be checked, but now if they're not doing machinery and don't have $1 million filing. So for me, it's almost like if you do large objects but you don't do machinery, because some of my trailers are just fiberglass tank haulers. Like, they can't haul anything else. They're just, if you think of a trailer, they're just two rails and the tank plops into the rails. There's no deck. Okay. Well, now what I'm going to have them do is uncheck machinery and go into other and put in their fiberglass tanks, large object. So that's what
Dale told me whenever I called him yesterday to ask him about that. He said, go into other and just put in their cooling towers.
Right. Fiberglass.
Be specific.
Correct. Fiberglass.
That way it won't trip it.
Correct. Fiberglass tanks, large object, because you don't want it to not be checked, because you don't want to give any insurance any reason not to pay for anything because they weren't told about this. So you want to definitely tell your insurance and also make sure it's on there. But if you're not doing machinery, you don't want to put yourself into a category that you're not, because they've put these together. And I think that it's going to take time to educate the motoring, commercial public about this type of information. But the biggest one is going to be, hey, now your machinery, you're getting checked for this, but now your filing says that you don't have enough insurance, so we're going to have to up you to $1 million and before you get canceled. And a lot of carriers don't even look at their 150s. They have no idea. Or they don't even have access to the emails or the physical snail mail. They don't even have, it's not even the right mailing address. So they can be notified and they're like, I never got anything. Well, what's your mailing address? This. Are you still there? Well, no. And this is nuts. So it is. Go ahead. Your turn.
Okay. So
loudmouth number one, now loudmouth number two.
Okay, so this is what I understand. This is what I understand. Okay, if you're a general freight hauler and you don't have contracts to haul this, and this, then you can legally check general freight.
Correct.
Okay. And nothing else.
Correct.
All right. With us, we haul general freight and we haul cooling towers. So now once we get through all of this freaked up mess, I got to go in there and check other and put cooling towers in as the other. We do military freight, but it's really not contracted. I mean, yes, we do it directly for the DoD, but there's something in there that where I don't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
Now, this is what I don't understand. Okay. I want you to think about this a second.
Oh, Jesus.
My
Mhm.
trucks
Yes.
carry 300 gallons of fuel. They carry 15 gallons of antifreeze. They have, what is it? 8 or 10 gallons of oil in it.
Mhm.
Okay. If I put 3 Humvees on my trailer, which one do you think has more hazmat in it?
Well, in theory, it is going to be your truck, but the FMCSA is categorizing the cargo that's being hauled by the truck. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So technically, which I understand the confusion because you're trying to be logical and smart. We can't have that. Okay. Somewhere in the FMCSA, it ends in dumb sometimes, but I understand what you're trying to say. But what they're going to say is well, we're classifying the cargo being hauled, not the vehicle hauling the cargo. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. I mean, but here's the thing. If we get, let's just say, God forbid. Okay. Ron is coming back from El Paso with his military freight on.
Somebody else. I don't want to jinx Ron. Is there any way we can not jinx Ron? We've talked about. No, just go ahead.
Okay, so let's just say Jessica Howington. She is coming back from El Paso with a load of military on, and she rolls her truck.
Okay.
Which one do you think is going to make a bigger mess?
Well, which way is the sun facing?
Which way's the wind blowing?
I agree with you 100%. It's gonna be the truck, right? Because they ship differently.
Right.
Do we really have to give them more ammunition at us?
No, not really.
I think, but like I said, the only thing that protects us is they're going to classify it as cargo being hauled, not the hauling the vehicle of the cargo.
I understand that, but it's
I am right.
And again, it's the FMCSA. It's not supposed to make sense. You're just supposed to do it.
Correct.
But here's what I'm going to say about this. Okay. Anybody that's listening to this that's a carrier, I don't care how big or how small you are. Okay. If you don't have an insurance agent like Jessica Howington or Sage or any of the other really good ones out there, okay, that are actually going to look and do what needs to be done and look over your everything from your MCS 150 all the way through to your drivers.
Yeah.
Okay. If they're not going to look at every single aspect of your company, don't use them.
Yeah. No.
Just because they say, oh, well, we can save you $1,000 a month. I don't care.
Yeah.
What good is it? What right now with what's going on today? What good is that $1,000 a month saving you if if you can't do business because they didn't check everything?
Right. And they should know. And when you interview, and I've told this to people when it comes to insurance agents, right? Because nobody wants to talk to insurance agent. Listen, like I've said this before. I'm a freight broker and an insurance agent. I'm going to hell. I can't get out. I'm already applying for positions down there. Okay. But the fact is that when you talk to the insurance person, you're interviewing one of the most important people for your company. I mean, people are like, oh, my dispatcher or my operations guy no, that insurance person, you are interviewing them for a position, a 1099 position, technically. You know what I mean? They better bring enough value to know how trucking works, to know how insurance works. And if they don't know, they better be like, I'll call you right back. And they're jumping on a phone, right? But if that's not the type of person you're hiring for an insurance agent, you're doing it wrong, because your very first interview, should be your insurance agent. That's an interview. You're interviewing me for that role, that position. And do I bring enough to the table? Not just the price, but do I also bring value with that price, or does somebody else bring value with that price enough to cover your ass? And there's not. There's just sometimes there's just some agents they just don't. They're punching in numbers and they don't know anything else. That's bad.
It was my fault that I used the person that I used in Houston that got me in all this mess because I knew better. I know better. I've been doing this long enough to know. I know better. But I saw the quote unquote savings, and I jumped on it, and I should have never done it. But here's the thing, folks. If you and I've written about this week, the last couple of days, I've talked about it on every single podcast I've been on, and I'm going to say it again for the people in the nosebleed section who did not hear me the first 25,000 times. If you have not been on Modus yet, stop right now.
Yes.
Go to Modus, log in, claim your DOT number, and then when your jaw hits the floor because it's screwed up, this is the time to be fixing it. Don't be like me, where you're trying to do your renewal, and you find out about all this and you can't renew.
100%.
You've got to get out there. You've got and once again, I'm going to plug this. Okay. If you have any questions, whether you want to use that goofy sucker down there at the bottom of your screen or not, pick up the phone and call Sage. Pick up the phone. Look up Jessica Howington. She will do it too. They don't necessarily, they want your business, but they're here to help. You've got to use these people that know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
If you don't, you might as well go home, park your truck, and go to work for McDonald's. Because I promise you, it might not be today, it might not be next month, but I guarantee you, a month later, you're going to be out of business.
Correct. And
I'm going to jump in real quick.
Don't do that. You will be flagged as fraudulent or thing. Don't
if you've not logged into Modus yet, you can accidentally try to create a new DOT number. So pay attention to what you click on as you go through. That's why I'm leaving this comment on the screen here for a second. Be very, very careful, please. Whatever you click on those sites is very sensitive and it will beat you up in the long run. You don't want to be flagged as potentially fraudulent or something along those lines. Guys, between the motor carriers who are now suffering through this and the freight brokers who now have to determine whether or not, my favorite carrier just all of a sudden is coming up as out of service because their authority got shut down thanks to the increase in insurance requirements, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, but I have the right insurance. Okay, how do I vet that as a broker? How do I sit there and say, okay, I'm getting bad information from DOT, the preeminent source of information that all freight brokers use for vetting, and the info is not good. How do we? Jesus, man, sorry about that. How the heck do we vet a carrier now if we don't have good information to use?
No,
Sage, I'm asking you that.
Okay,
and here's like Sage was saying earlier. Okay, I can do everything right. I've got everything on Modus is right, except for the bug where it tells everybody that I'm hazmat. That's a bug. There's nothing more that we can do to get rid of that.
Right.
They have to fix the bug. But here's the thing. We're still having problems getting my renewal.
Yeah. So that's another thing too, is when again, because like I said, a lot of them use cab. So one of the things that cab has is a section that says alerts. So understand, and I try to explain this to people that when you deal with underwriters and you submit this stuff, underwriters, you got to think of them as they are out there to protect the market. So it's kind of, it's the carrier and me and the underwriter kind of against the market. We got to learn how to play the game, right? We got to know what the market wants. We got to be able to do that. So the issue is that category, when it pops up there and there's a little red flag, underwriters, they get so many submissions and so much type of insurance that if it doesn't look good, they immediately just kick it out. They're like, no, thank you. We're out of here. We don't want to risk it. What is this? And then if you don't have answers for some of those things, like an underwriter understands that you're going to have an accident if you drive so far, you're going to get tickets. These things are going to happen, right? The biggest thing they want to know is, do you know you're getting this? Do you know why you're getting it? And what are you doing to fix it? I can write letters all day long at AI and help with safety and make them feel comfortable. But if I can't fix motives because modus is broken, all I can say to them is, well, modus is broken, and hope that that's good enough. But there's no other. So there has been a couple that have come back and said, we don't work with hazmat. And even though it's a class 9 non-placarded, some won't do it. Now, like I said, a Geico or Progressive, it's kind of, well, Geico just dropped auto. But it's one of those that they might still work with it and give us the $1 million filing because it is a non-placarded insurance level. But some won't. Some don't care. But some won't do oversized. They're just like, nope, we don't want it. Some will look at that class 9 and be like, stop, nope, we don't want it. All we want to cover is general freight. There are some out there. And now you have to kind of explain that to the underwriter, which takes even more time because it's being kicked back. So if you're waiting to the last minute, and unfortunately I was kind of brought in, I should be doing this 90 days out, but we were thrown in like 20 days out. If you're doing this last minute trying to get this rush through, you might end up with an insurance policy that almost, doubled? 80% spike?
Yeah, 86.3%.
86.63%, because that was at this time, that was the only option. He has 100%, but while I'm still shopping it to get it. Now I do have some stuff that we're working on, but that kicked a lot of people out. And at that point, for me to resubmit and explain that it's what was going on here, it made it harder. It made it harder because they just kick it out and they say, we don't do hazmat. And then I have to say, no, it's not a normal placarded hazmat. It's class 9 machinery, like autos, blah, 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 blah. But some of them won't even do, autos. So it's a mess that if you wait to the last minute to do things, it becomes a major problem, right? Where the agent that, like I said, there was an agent ahead of me on this one that kind of didn't do any of this and just didn't even let him know, and didn't even tell him that his rate went up. Like, I was like, wait a minute, your rate went up 86% and you never got a phone call? They just renewed you? He's like, yep. I'm like, oh, okay. Which JR wasn't happy about, or Brett, which I could see, but these are other things agents should be doing, and staying in touch, making sure that they're up to date on things like this. Now, luckily we don't do cars. But yeah, it has kicked a couple out that they just didn't want to deal with the hazmat aspect, even though. And then one company looked at it and said, hey, he's running hazmat and he's not listing himself as a hazmat carrier, because that's technically what it said on there. It says 750 minimum is basically something basically stating that, hey, he's hazmat and he's only listing himself as 750. So to them, it looks like, what is he doing? Is he trying to scam the system? What's going on, right? So it's these flags that pop up that underwriters need answers for. And like I said, so I've been doing a lot of cleanup on it. And then for the longest time, we couldn't figure out what was going on. And then we found out it was the machinery aspect. And again, if the FMCSA is listening, and I have sent them messages, and they're probably not listening to me on this right now, you can't have machinery and large objects on the same line, because large objects might not have anything in there. And not all machinery has liquids in it. Not all machinery is going to have liquids, right? So if you're thinking to yourself, hey, I'm doing a cooling tower, or if I'm doing, this machinery that runs on air, this doesn't have liquids in it, but now you're listing it as, yeah, I've got a dedicated run hauling this big machinery. Then what? Right? It was just kind of a loose category for the FMCSA, which left a lot of us, they just made a final decision on and didn't tell any of us. They now said all machinery has liquid in it. No, does. Yes, it does. No, yes, it. Okay, fine. And here
John, I just sent you an email with a couple of screenshots in it. You might want to grab those and throw them up so that we can actually point to it and say, see, this is where you're looking. This is where you need to look.
I'm looking for those emails.
And while you do that, I want to respond to the person in the chat that in 2026 edition of the MC 150 now includes specific about auto haulers and towaways. Yeah, that's true. That we knew. We knew that auto was going to be auto has been known as a $1 million filing for a long time, right? That wasn't the problem. The problem is machinery and large objects. We did not know. I did not know. So, but they said, yes, machinery could have this in it. And I guess large objects could too. I don't know. So they now made that the same $1 million filing. So that's where a lot of insurance people probably, if they didn't check auto, but like I said, I do open deck and OD freight. If they checked large objects and machinery, I, as an insurance agent, probably would not file back then, would not have filed them as a $1 million filing. Well, according to Modus, yes, I should have. And that's,
well, the reason why I key a lot on the automotive side, because I happen to know a lot of auto haulers have been checking that non-hazmat box and putting the automotive in there, and they don't realize that they are actually a Class 9 hazmat.
And I would
say, this is a big wake-up call for them.
Yeah, but as an insurance agent, any good of insurance agent should have said auto hauler. Oh, you need a $1 million. That's kind of should have been known, right? Now, some do, some don't. But the one that wasn't known was the machinery. So if you already had auto checked, you were probably getting a $1 million file. Well, you should have been getting a $1 million filing, right? I actually had a carrier who hauls street sweepers. And as a street sweeper, he was, and I had to call him and he had to update his. He didn't have auto. He had auto and he didn't have machinery. And when the cop ticketed him, he's like, hey, you have to have machinery on these are machines. And you have a dedicated run. This is your direct customer. You got to put that on your FMCS filing. And he did. Can't do a blanket thing with trucking. Just say it don't work. It don't work out. Yeah, I don't. And that's where we were at. So now we're having a lot of carriers that are falling into this category. And the problem is that when I call people, I will say, hey, this is what's going on with your filing. And they tell me the same thing. I already have $1 million, so I'm fine. No. I know you have $1 million, but your filing with the FMCSA says 750. That has to say 1 million. So even trying to explain it sometimes becomes difficult. Go ahead, JR, your turn. What we got?
Okay, so thanks to Sage, if you look here, this is my Modus right here. This is for bar transportation. If you look down here, you see where it says $750,000 right there.
Yep.
That was what it was up until yesterday. And we had to get a hold of Geico and have them refile it as $1 million because we had machinery checked, because we haul machines.
Right.
And if it wasn't for them doing that, you can see where it says status reason dismissed. They were getting ready to
issue the letter. And then I would have 30, approximately 30 days to fix it. And with Modus, 30 days ain't going to be long enough, folks. It's not. Yeah. No. And this is Dale Prack speaking to the guy. What's the name of the guy at the registry at the FM?
Oh, whoa, where'd he go?
I'm here. Yeah, he kicked
Sorry,
me off.
my bad.
The guy at the FMCSA. So this was Dale Prack said that the guy at the FMCSA said, yeah, we're probably going to issue you a letter if we don't fix this. So this wasn't just us thinking it was. This was the Department of Transportation telling Dale Prax, who was on the phone, saying they're going to probably cancel you. They're going to probably start that process. And we got to push through because of who we know. Now, not everybody's going to know the right people like we know. Now, so then what? And here's the thing for you, John. What happens if these guys are doing your loads and they're going to be coming up for cancellation? And they're your regular car haulers or whatever. And next thing you know, you're like, ooh, we just got a cancellation notice for you. So we're not loading you because just in case this ends in 30 days, I don't want an insurance problem. Because remember, insurance claims can go 9 months if you cross state lines, falls under Carmack, right? In freight. So what happens if you put somebody on that's pending cancellation, something happens, and now I'm a freight broker. Why did you put somebody on that was pending cancellation for insurance? I'm sorry, not for the insurance, for their authority. Why would you do that? And they get into an accident. Now I'm at risk. You don't think a lawyer's going to be like, you loaded freight on a guy who was pending cancellation for the FMCSA and you thought that was okay? No. Well, you did. So now it puts it, if I'm looking at this stuff, I'm going to be like, sorry, till you get that fixed, I'm not loading.
Yeah, and even then, there, somebody's got to love a lawyer. I'm not sure who it is, but they're going, let's use that example. Okay. You say, okay, until you get this fixed, I'm not going to use you. Well, a week later, they come back and they've got it fixed, and you load them and they go out and they have an accident. Guess what that lawyer's going to do? He's going to back up to the week before when he was supposed to be when he was going through cancellation.
It could be,
and they're going to ask you the same question,
right?
But that shouldn't happen anymore, because it's all about at the time of dispatch. I mean, Kavanaugh has been pointing that out in his part of the opinion.
I understand that's what they say, but that's not what the lawyers are going to do. It's just like, John, it's just like this, okay? If God forbid a trucking company out there gets in an accident and is a well-known carrier, blah, 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 the lawyers take them to court, they go back 6 months on video. What makes you think they're not going to go back 6 months on the authority? It's all about the money. I'm going to get this money. I'm going to sue the carrier, the broker, the customer, the the street sweeper. I mean, they're suing everybody. Like I said, somebody's got to love a lawyer. I'm just not sure who it is.
Yeah, and none of us are lawyers. Like I said, I'm just, and that's probably the worst part about it. It's the unknown of, look, that makes it worse. I'm not a lawyer, so I have no idea what a lawyer is going to do. So I'm going to revert to what I believe the safest thing is, which is just not use you. I'll have to find another trucking company. You know what I mean? Because I'm just too nervous. You've made me nervous, right? And I don't like being nervous, because if I'm nervous, I could be sued. Like I said, I'm an agent for SPI. I could be at risk of being sued as an independent agent, right? So I've got to do what's best for me too. And hey, I want to use you, and that's great, and you've been good. But the problem is that I can't at this point. I mean, we're gonna have to get this fixed and make sure I'm covered before I can. And I think to be making a lot of mistakes.
I think one thing that the FMCSA needs to do is they need to put out something that says, Modus is messed up. We know it is. We're working on fixing it. Here's what we're seeing. And then give the list of things that they're seeing that the issue is.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. They not just leave it up to the insurance companies and the trucking companies to try to explain it, because they're not, unless the FMCSA puts something out there. It doesn't exist.
Right. Exactly. And that's,
go
ahead.
One of the things that Dale Prax is trying to do, and Dale Prax, very active and an advocate for the trucking industry. He is putting together a special website that he's calling FMCSAnews.com. It is not affiliated with the FMCSA. But anything that we learn about the FMCSA and things that are going on are going to be posted there. I'm going to be one of the contributors.
He wants me.
We're going to try to have as good information out there as humanly possible, so that people have some kind of a resource to see what's going on. Because as Sage pointed out, FMCSA is not going to step up publicly and say, okay, this is what's wrong. Here's how long it's going to take. They're just not going to do it. Okay, you can't expect the federal government to sit there and do that in any respect. So we're going to try to get information out the best that we can. We're going to do everything we can to try to get as good of a matrices out there for people to make good decisions off of out there as well. it's going to be rough. It's going to be a difficult time. I don't know how long it's going to take for this stuff to fix. I think what was it, Sage? We're up to 10 major items that Modus is screwing up right now.
10. There was 10 items there. I watched another friend of mine that he was going through the list, and we were watching it backstage. And there's he had 9, and like I said, when I this morning yesterday we were talking about it. He's like, "Well, I just did my video with 9." I'm like, "Well, then you should redo it with 10." He's like, "No, I'll just send out the 9 and you do the 10th." And then I put my video out on the situation that we're dealing with. But there's major issues, and the issues that you're dealing with is not being able to log in because you had to log in with the original email address that you used when you set up the FMCSA, right? An email is going to go back to that with a code. We had to do this with Brett. We had to do this with JR's company. It sent him a code to that email, and then we validated through that code. Well, if that doesn't match, or your physical address doesn't match because they mailed you out a letter and it came back undeliverable because you don't use that anymore, that's a problem. Insurance Modus is not talking to the insurance companies, so what's happening not the system, not Modus in general, but what's happening is when I go to, let's say, Progressive, everybody knows Progressive. I go to Progressive and we use Progressive, and I click the button for it to do your federal filing, so that you get an MC number, you get a DOT, it lists you on there, you're good to go with the FMCSA. Well, Progressive is checking that button and sending it off to the FMCSA, but those two aren't talking. So it's not going on to the FMCSA. So 2 weeks later, you come back and the insurance was never filed. It's just not on there. But there's me and Progressive both did our job, but it never reached out to Modus and talked to each other. That's another problem.
So you're saying people are losing their authorities for not having insurance, yet they completely do.
Yes, 100%. So what we're suggesting is get any type of screenshots, get any type of documentation, get everything you possibly can show to show that you did your part, your money went through. The insurance agent, I did my part. I'm gonna screenshot the fact that I checked that box, and then on Progressive side, Progressive obviously is going to keep track of everything they do. And it's not going to Motive. But some people are basically their authorities getting deactivated because their renewal didn't go through, because we checked the boxes, but it didn't talk to Modus because Modus isn't listening, or that's all the technical terms with you guys, the API type stuff. But that's how it is. I mean, I think we just run a tin can and a string and be like, "Can you please attach?" I got a microphone.
Can you please attach this to the following MC number?
I mean, that's what we have to go back to. And it's just like, it's a shame because we have the ability to do this, but the technology wasn't beta tested. And I'm kind of shocked. Or maybe it was, and all of a sudden now it's not working, but I don't know. I wish that we did more testing, because the guys that are right now, the good guys are being punished. Because they're the ones.
I'm nervous.
Yeah,
I'm nervous because they have not sent over my renewal. They have not sent over my renewal yet, because my renewal is not till what, the 24th.
24th. Yeah.
So,
right.
If they can't get my renewal in there and get it activated, guess what? I'm back to square one again.
Right. And
well, that then begs the question: should brokers put aside the age requirement of an authority in light of all this? Is that something that we should be recommending?
Here we go. So phase 2 of Geico, when I log into Geico and look at it, because I've had Geico, but when I log into Geico and try to log into his, because I have what's called a BOR, which I took over his insurance account. But on the top of it, it says, and I think I posted this on my LinkedIn, I posted this on X, if your authority started after 5/14, if you try to start your authority on 5/15, Geico is not even going to take an application for insurance for you. They don't want you. They're not taking on anybody after that date. So if your DOT was started on 5/15 of 2026, don't go to Geico, because the FMCSA is too messed up and they're not taking that on. So those guys can't even get Geico insurance. Now, there's other options, obviously, but that's less competition. And the minute Progressive and CoverWell find that out, then, boop, boop, boop. because you don't have Geico, right? So this is kind of also what's happening. So so here's the other problem. I can't just, the company that I'm with has insurance. We have insurance. Okay. Our insurance company, not the brokerage, the insurance company requires that any carrier we use has 60 days. We cannot, no matter what, do it, or we're not insured. So it's not even the brokerages that are just saying, hey, lower the things. It's the fact that we have insurance, because brokers
it's their own liability insurance underwriters who are sitting there saying, no, you want our coverage, you have to have the 60-day mandate.
A company might tell you have to hire somebody who's at least 25 or 2 years experience, right? For a trucking company. Our brokerage insurance, like we have 5 million and 500,000 cargo. That company tells us you cannot use anybody unless they have authority for 60 days or more. So, we're not allowed. We just can't do it because we would have no coverage on that person. So it's not like we can even just shift gears and just make that change, because then we're opening ourselves up to not having insurance, and we're not going to do that. So, and that's not the bond, that's actual insurance. So then we can't just change that. Now what? You know what I mean? So we can't even lessen that authority, because now you have insurance companies not insuring them, and then you have broker insurance that wouldn't cover them. Like I said, some other companies might be 90 days, other companies might be 6 months. Ours is 60 days. The insurance company that we have will not allow us to use somebody with 30 days authority, because they won't cover any insurance. They won't cover the insurance on that. So we don't use it. So we can't even make that change.
I never knew that before.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I just never thought of it.
Yeah, most of the time that's what that is. Most of the time is the reason they'll go 6 months, 90 days is because whatever the insurance company they're using for their automotive, either contingent or cargo, is giving them restrictions on the carriers. Just like an insurance company would tell a trucking company, if you have to have every driver you hire has to have 2 years experience. Well, the same thing. When they give broker insurance, they give us restrictions. And one of the restrictions we have is you can't use any authority with less than 60 days or you won't be covered. So we don't do it, because I don't want to lose my coverage. Technically, I can't lose my coverage. One of my customers requires me to have that coverage. So I can't just say, never mind. You know what I mean? Because now I have shippers that say, hey, what my shipper requires, 2,250,000 for me and the trucking company, right? But mine would cover their 1 million. If they didn't have 1 million, we can do that. We can get like a rider policy, but they wouldn't even give me a rider. So I can't, even my shipper wouldn't let me do it. It's a lot. Logistics is hard. Plus insurance, plus dealing with JR. These are all very difficult things in my life.
I tell you what, he told me the other day, he said, do me a favor, lose my number for a day.
I did. I'm like,
just lose my number for 24 hours. I don't want to hear from you. I don't care if the earth is falling off its axis. I don't want to hear from you. I'll learn it from somebody else.
I asked him 24 hours. I said, can you give us 24 hours without anything right now? We're close to renewing your insurance right here. Don't do anything for 24 hours. And what did he do? He did something. Damn bastard. Called me the next day anyways. Well, he didn't. He painted a target on his truck and told a non-domicile to back into him. Basically, for some reason. That's what happened. He was parked and a non-domiciled CDL driver backed into him and
into the trailer I just had fixed. Spent $6,000 fixing the rails and stuff on this trailer.
I know.
It hadn't been out. And I'm not kidding, John. Has not been out of the shop 9 days yet. And he backed right into it.
Do you see why I say, can we go 24 hours? This is all 1 week. Modus, insurance filings, being hit. This is all one. Then he's like, hey, you going to the Texas Truck Show? No, I'm not allowed 4 states away. We must maintain 4-state distance. No. Are you going to the truck show, John, in Texas?
No, I'm not.
Oh, that's because you're not in Texas. I forgot. Pedro's in Texas.
No, I'm out in Florida. Yeah, Pedro's in Texas. What carriers really need to take away from all this is the system is screwed up, and you're about to get swallowed up by this huge monster. And frankly, there's not much you can do about it. You need to get ahead of it by making sure, as JR already said, if you've not logged in to Modus, log in right now. I don't want you to leave the show, but leave the show, log in right now, and start making sure that you have access. Once you have access, then you can try to start doing the other things in there to get things going. But also, when you come up for renewal, start working your renewal process on your insurance 90 days out. Don't wait until the week your insurance is supposed to expire before you start asking questions, because this stuff takes a lot of time, and especially now, because you have to deal with the insurance underwriters who are always changing the rules of the game. You have Modus is not working right, so that's causing all kinds of problems, and a mass amount of confusion across the entire industry as a result. Guys, get ahead of it. If you don't get ahead of it, then you're already boned on day one.
100%. Now is not the time. Like Jared said earlier, now is not the time to hire people based on price. Now is the time to hire people based on value and knowledge that they bring to the game. Because if not, you will end up doomed with no authority, losing thousands of dollars a day for something that you tried to save $100 a day, and you're losing $1,000 a day. So finding people that either know the answers, what to do, or who to call is ginormous right now. When you have chaos like this, finding the highly educated people is what separates the good carriers from the ones that are just gonna go under, because they're just gonna be like, oh, I didn't know, and then they didn't take the steps to move forward with it. They just basically said, it is what it is. It's not my fault. I don't know what happened. It's their fault, and they blame other people.
Ignorance, unfortunately, is no defense. And there's a ton of ignorance out there. We've seen how many people in the last 5 years get into trucking because they saw a YouTube video saying they can make millions by getting a box truck or a Sprinter van and jumping on the road, and then they lose their shirt, they lose their house, and because of all this crap that's going on. You have to pay attention to what you're doing. You have to do your research. Don't just sit there and get something off of Facebook or whatever and say, oh, okay, I'm going to go buy a truck. Oh my God. Know how to run a business. Please, for the love of God, know how to run a business before you try to get your own authority.
100%.
For the love of God.
That was one of the things that we talked about on Break Check this morning was, these guys that are just that are getting, I want to be an owner operator. No, you don't. You don't have enough experience. After a year or two, no. You got to be. This is not just on how to drive a truck.
Correct.
It's not. You have to connect A to B to C to D to D, on and on and on and on. Because if you don't, you're out of business. All that money you spent to get into it, it's gone.
Yeah, I know in my wife's industry, they call it the golden thread. Everything has to match and link back to the original item, and it all has to be continuous and traceable. It's the same thing in trucking. You have to know what you're jumping into. I mean, I know when I first got into trucking, I got my first box truck. I knew I was going into final mile delivery. I had the agreements before I got the truck. So I knew what I was doing. I already did the research and all. I knew what I was doing. I expanded over the road and I overextended myself because I didn't understand over the road as well as I understood final mile delivery. And that ended up leading to my downfall. I'm admitting that wholeheartedly. Okay. So know what you're doing. Know what you're getting into. Do your research. Do your homework. And don't be seduced by others who are sitting there saying, oh, you can make a fortune doing this. And as JR saying, oh, we can save you a shit ton of money. Don't bother. Please don't bother.
The one thing that I'm going to impart on everybody that's listening is have mentors. Okay. Have somebody that you can call. Okay. If I have a question, I have a list of people for that particular item that I can call. Insurance, I call Jessica or I call Sage. Fraud stuff, I call John or I call Dale or a couple other people. If there's something, if it's tires, I have somebody for tires. I have somebody that knows a lot more than I do about each subject, and that's who I call.
That is darn good advice. And I think every motor carrier out there should be doing that at an absolute bare minimum. We're coming up at the top of an hour. We've covered a bunch of stuff that FMCSA is doing that is eventually is going to make the industry better. Mm-hmm. Eventually it will work. But right now we've got a lot of bugs that have to get fixed. So let's go ahead and do final plugs. And JR's already started. So JR, let's start with you. Go ahead.
Go out and get my book, Frozen Freight Iron Reach, available on Amazon or any other bookseller. Or if nothing else, get on my website, bartransportation.net/frozen freight, and you can order it directly from me and I'll sign it. And I'll make sure that I send you the right one instead of like Sage that I sent the wrong one.
That's hilarious. Okay, Sage, any final thoughts and plugs from you?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the book, the birth of the FMCSA Death Star, the third saga of the trucking thing. You guys can find me on Sage Outcast X on YouTube or Sage Blues on LinkedIn, or you can go to X on me. But I'm kind of a troll on X. I like messing around on X, but that's also Sage Outcast. If you're looking for insurance, if you're looking for fleet quoting, anything like that, like I said, or if you have 8 questions regards to why brokers do stupid stuff or freight or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, I do a show. It's a call-in show, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I didn't do one today because I did 2 of these. But yeah, it's Sage Outcast X on YouTube, Sage Blues on LinkedIn, and Sage Outcast X on X. So you'll find me.
Cool. Gentlemen, definitely do appreciate it. Folks, if you're out there watching or listening, please make sure you, 1, do your homework. 2, make sure you have logged into Modus and have your stuff squared away there. Guys, it's a crazy world. And for the love of God, do not take professional advice off of a podcast.
True.
Contact an expert and get your advice from them. Okay, especially legal stuff. God, call a lawyer, retain them, and then ask the questions. So please protect yourself. It's going to be a crazy roller coaster of a world for a while. This is not something that's going to fix in a few days. This is something that's going to probably take months to fix, if not longer, I'm sorry to say. So please pay attention out there. This is going to be an evolving problem. We're going to try to cover it as new issues come up. We'll bring on experts to talk more about those issues. But please pay attention out there. It's going to be a rough one. Well, with that being done, I'm hoping that my new closeout automation actually works. But next week, for those who are keeping track, and I hope you are, we're going to hit the 1-month anniversary of the Montgomery decision. We're going to have Brandon Wiseman, a trucking attorney and compliance expert, coming to talk to us about some of the things that are going on in the industry. So be sure to check that out. Noon next Thursday, same place, same time, all that good stuff. And it's going to be another fun one between Montgomery and the Modus issues. This has been the craziest month in trucking in 40 years. So buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to be wild. That's our show for today. Please be sure to like and subscribe on all of our social media outlets. And we also ask that you show your support to our show and to our mission to fight freight fraud by visiting the Double Broker Bounty Hunter store at vigilanttransport.com or the freightfraudtaskforce.com. Your check is on the table, and be sure to tip out your server. From all of us at the Freight Fraud Task Force, don't let scammers take you for a ride. We will see you next time here at the Tic Toc Diner.